So now we will see a movie that shows the various areas of Lake Hylia. Right now it looks kind of odd because all the water's drained, but we will have to find a way to bring the water back to it here in a moment. So then now finally we'll show Link and Midna falling down into the water. So she will then, mention that that was a close one, and you're lucky that there was a puddle right below us. I wouldn't exactly call this a puddle, but she goes on to say that this is Lake Hylia, but it's not much of a lake because all the water's missing. One of the other staff members, Masis, he actually made a funny comment about this, says that, that even if there wasn't a puddle here, that this is Zelda, what would happen? Link would lose 2 hearts. Because you only lose a little bit of health if you do get hurt when you fall down. Anyway, so you can come over here, you can talk to the Zoras that are actually hanging out around here. In this game, they're actually wearing, like, fish helmets or something, but they're commenting about, this really isn't good, that there's actually a serious problem with the water actually draining from the lake. The problem is that the water that normally flows from Zora's domain is not entering the lake at all. The water has stopped flowing, so the lake is just steadily disappearing, so you want to head over to this large contraption over here. You'll see there's this new character here over here named Fyer, and he actually owns like a little cannon minigame that we will deal with later. It allows people to get shot up to the upper part of the lake, so that upper area where we just were, where we fell down, whatever, he can shoot you back up there. He gives you a short overview of the area, just basically talking about the Zora's River and how the water stopped flowing, and he also mentions there's the spirit up there that you can't get to at the moment. He sees something in the distance, and he thinks it's a customer for a moment, and then he realizes it's a monster, after which he will start cowering in fear. So, just to, soothe his worries, we're going to go over here and kill that archer. So once you get kind of close to it, it will initiate this little scene in which the Bulbin runs over and it grabs the hawk grass that is nearby. It'll actually blow into it, so I guess these Bulbins, once again, they show that they're actually pretty intelligent. But rather than summoning a hawk, like it does for you in general, this will actually summon a Shadow Kargorok. So these guys will then fight together, and it acts kind of like a mini boss battle in the overworld. So it's pretty awkward. I mean, I wouldn't say it's hard, but it's it's just awkward to defeat them. They will shoot at you while on top of the back of the Kargorok, so you actually just kind of want to run around a little bit at first just to avoid getting hit, and then after a little bit it'll fly away, so it'll stop shooting at you for a time. So now it's actually going to kind of charge towards you, and it sticks its feet out, and I always just assumed that it was probably just going to try and like ram into you or something like that, but no, it grabs you if you're holding still or just too low, and it will actually have this really lengthy scene in which it will then toss you onto the ground. It takes an awful long time for it to actually do it. But anyways, so there I did that because I was too low, I guess. So that's actually the first time I've ever actually seen that attack, so I'm going to leave it in the video because of that too. Because I've always killed them without any problem. So anyways, you want to just avoid getting hit with the arrows once again. Once it starts coming towards you, so this time I'm actually going to get up on a higher platform. So I lured him kind of towards the lower area, and now I'm going to get up on a higher platform so I'm more level. So when I jump at him, I'm not going to touch his feet. After that, you just want to tap A a whole bunch, and this will cause Link to bite it in the chest, I guess, and then this will harm it. So after this point, you just want to, rinse and repeat and do that again. And after you've done it a second time, then you'll defeat this guy. Bam, bam, bam. So this will cause them to be separated, so now they're actually a lot easier separated than they are together, as odd as that is, but then you just want to defeat the Bulbin, so you can either, you can just smack into it, or you can use Midna's charge attack to defeat it. Once it's defeated though, then it'll show this little scene in which Kargorok is still there, so Midna will then fly over to it and actually take control of it. So this is pretty cool. Now we actually have our own flying thing, and this is interesting because now we'll be able to fly for this next portion. This is the first Zelda game where you're actually flying around, but it's pretty cool. She will then pick up Link using the Kargorok, and we'll then head back towards the Zora's River, and we'll be able to use the Kargorok to go up the river. So the controls for this are pretty easy to use. You simply aim the Wiimote at the screen, and that will determine which direction you go in and everything. So if you need to turn off to the right, for example, you need to move the Wiimote all the way over to the right and then move it back to the center in order to level out. So just keep that in mind as you're doing this. And so this entire cavern thing, it's the river, but the water is really low right now. It's not flowing at all, I don't think. So there's all these Bulbins and everything in here that shoot arrows at you, and some of them actually shoot bomb arrows, or they have some kind of explosives anyways, and they blow up these all these pillars and everything, and they try and knock them into you. So pretty intense. You want to avoid getting hit, obviously. You can actually press A to dash with the Kargorok. So like there I almost got squished. But in general this is pretty easy to avoid. I'm just going to dash over and over again to get out of this area. Every once in a while when you're using the Kargorok, and it just seems like it swoops in one direction. I think it's what it is that, you know, it's gliding for a while and then all of a sudden it'll flap its wings and causes it to lift up abruptly. You'll see that happen several times in here, and I think it's really frustrating because it can make you knock into something you don't intend to. In any case, you just want to keep going through this area. We're almost at the end now. At here, at this point, you can go all the way to the top, or you can, go underneath. Either way will be fine. Just make sure, be really careful not to touch anything. If you do, then the Kargorok will drop Link into the water, and then you'll have to start this area all over again. Once you finally make it out into the sunshine, then you'll have a little scene in which the Kargorok drops you off, and then you guys are left by yourselves. So after it has disappeared, then you'll see this overview of the area, and it titles it Upper Zora's River. So I'm not sure if where we just came from is considered Lower Zora's River, because at this point the river actually splits off into 3 different directions. 2 of them actually go back to Lake Hylia, while 1 of them goes towards Hyrule Castle. So I don't know if that means there's like 2 Lower Zora's Rivers. Minda will go on to say that you should continue to look for the Zora River, and or the Zora's village. She says that bird was actually pretty helpful, and she comments that it's cold. You can head over here to talk to this new character whose name is Izza. She's got like a big old fro, and she's actually the sister of Koro, the lantern salesman from earlier. She's frustrated with the Zoras because there's no more water flowing here, and it's making her business not work out for her. She also comments that it's cold, so head over into the river. You want to continue following it, I guess, to the east, I guess it would be. If you're playing the the Wii version. If you're playing the GameCube version, I suppose it would be west. Now this area is actually covered with ice and snow, and there's all these like icy crystal things that are all around here, and you can smash them up to get recovery hearts and such as well. Up ahead, you'll actually arrive at just the base of Zora's domain, and you'll see that everything is frozen over, and that's actually supposed to be a waterfall. It's completely frozen. So that would be why there's no water, is because everything is frozen. So Midna will comment that, she thought it was getting cold, but she didn't really expect it to be frozen. So she also mentions that she doesn't see any Zoras, but that you should go ahead and check it out. Now this is actually very similar to Ocarina of Time. This Twilight Princess has a lot of parallels to that game, and in that game, Zora's domain actually gets frozen over, and so that's what causes the Lake Hylia to be drained. And so it's the exact same thing in this game. It's a slightly different way of how you go about it, but it's the exact same thing that happens. So some people were actually kind of annoyed by that. I don't really mind too much. I think it's a little bit corny, but whatever. So anyways, you want to use Midna jumps to get up on top of the lower portion of this waterfall. Once you're up here, then you'll see that you want to watch out for these ice crystals that are coming down. Here you want to watch out for this one. It's coming down. You want to just take this slowly. Once you get to this next one, not this one, but this one over here, you will always slip off. So just be careful not to press A again if you're trying to be impatient and go quick, because it will actually cause you to fall down on purpose. So you want to kind of avoid that. Once you make it all the way up to the top, you can just avoid the keys and just head straight into the heart of Zora's domain. Once you get up here, you'll enter the throne room, I guess you would call it. And there are 3 of those shadow beings, or Twilight messengers, whatever you want to call them. But these guys, there's one in the, I guess it would be the northernmost, according to your map, the northern shadow being, whatever you want to kill that one by itself. And then up ahead there, on the other side, there's 2 of them. So I killed the single one first, and then killed the other 2 right after that. So there I bonked into the wall. So just try and back up a little bit so that you don't hit the wall. That would be kind of annoying. Or just stand directly in between them so Link actually goes back and forth. But anyways, once they're all defeated, you will gain the portal for this area. So that'll be really nice. We'll actually return here several times later on in the game. So once you regain control, you can go ahead and Midna will actually mention that now that there's a portal there, you can warp. She's just kind of emphasizing that fact, and she says that if you want to leave, you can come right back. So go ahead and grab the recovery hearts and stuff that the shadow beings left behind. If you look at the ice, you actually see there's a bunch of little floating spirits that are in there. Actually, when I first did this, I kind of thought it was a reflection, but it's actually in the ice. And so you want to stand over it and use your senses. Minda will say, "Whoa, there's something down there." So if you use your senses, you'll see that it's actually all the Zoras. They're all frozen under the ice, so it's kind of scary. It's a freaky little scene, but I guess they're okay, because they're probably cold-blooded or something, so they'll probably just come right back to life as soon as they get warm. But Minna will then ask you what you want to do. She says that you can warp out of the way. You need to find something that you can use to thaw it down. So she says that you should leave and come back later, and we can use the portals. So where can you find something that's hot that you might melt ice? So the obvious answer that comes to mind is Death Mountain. So warp over to Death Mountain and join me for the next video, and we will grab something nice and toasty that we can bring back.